and I made him watch. You don't have to play with the soundboard every time.
I feel like I do though because it's fun.
Okay,
It's
I
fun.
mean, as long as it's fun, I guess. That's fine.
So, but yeah.
Welcome to episode 30.
Oh yeah, 30. The
Mhm.
big 3-0.
Yep.
That's 3 times 10. We've been doing this 3 times 10
Yeah,
times.
this is our 30th time doing this,
Math.
Which also means that it was your turn to pick the movie.
Yeah, and I always pick the greatest movies. So,
Oh, yeah.
Of course, this episode's going to be awesome.
Every
Fucking
episode is awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And if you think otherwise,
you're not.
You're
You're not.
weird. Yeah,
you're not listening correctly.
Yeah,
you're not doing. You're doing something wrong.
You're
It's
just
not
crazy.
us.
Yeah, you're crazy.
It's not us.
No, couldn't be. Could be us.
Hello and welcome back to And I Made Him Watch, the podcast where I make my husband watch weird movies, except when it's his turn to pick. I'm your host, Dani Page, and here with me forever and always, the mastermind behind this week's cinematic chaos, my husband and filmmaker, Troy Allen. So, Troy, care to explain why you picked this holiday gem?
Well, it's plain and simple. You know, we're looking for holiday cheer, but a little bit of, fear for my life. You know, so I felt like it was, kind of middle of the road, and it kind of brings home the whole, I don't know, kind of whimsical sort of treachery that you may see in early 80s B horror.
Yeah, I get that.
You know?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So the rule is that you can pick any movie as long as it's kind of horror or scary, and it has to be at least 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And preferably not like 90s. So you did pretty good. This is probably the most mainstream movie we've watched so far. The Twilight Zone movie was pretty well known, but the more popular one is Gremlins, which is a bit more successful, mostly because it was produced by Spielberg.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Once you see Spielberg's name on it, it's gonna be good. And and he's throughout this movie, Spielberg's dropping these little crumbs.
Oh yeah.
So it was him, And they're great. They're great little crumbs.
Yeah, we'll get into the crumbs. I've mentioned some crumbs on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had never seen this movie, or you just never like.
To my recollection, I don't think I've ever seen the full movie. I've maybe seen bits and parts here and there, but I don't think I've ever seen the full movie.
Like you never sat down with the purpose of watching Gremlins.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel about Gremlins now that you've watched the whole thing?
Yeah, I like it. I do like it.
Okay.
And it's very reminiscent of a lot of other movies we watched.
Oh yes, very much so. Very, very much so.
So I felt like it was definitely within our scope of this podcast to watch. So
yeah, I mean, for your pick, I mean, it is more like a popular movie that is more well known, which is fine. But there definitely is. You can see the influence of movies past in Gremlins. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ready to get into it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we need to, do it. We need to do it.
As the movie starts, Rand Peltzer, an inventor, introduces himself in a voiceover as he follows a kid through Chinatown. He explains that this is a story to tell, and it all began trying to find a present for his kid. The kid leads him into his grandfather's store, Mr. Wing, and Randall begins to look around the store to find something he likes, and he begins to show off his invention, the bathroom buddy.
I mean, it's kind of cool though. Like that's like this Swiss Army knife of
bathroom equipment.
Toiletries.
Yeah, toiletries and stuff.
I do really like the opening in this movie because it's kind of reminiscent of like Blade Runner. Because you have a lot of these like neon lights and Chinese
people on the street
and stuff. And to be honest, I might be wrong, but I want to say Blade Runner was filmed on the Universal backlot as well, at least parts of it.
I know this was filmed on the backlots because There's no doubting that at all.
No.
I know they did reference a few other movies. I don't remember reading anything about Blade Runner though when I was
Okay.
doing research.
Yeah. I just can't remember. I want to say Blade Runner was actually Warner Brothers. I want to say Warner Brothers, the backlot for Warner Brothers was where Blade Runner was filmed, but I could be wrong. But it was very reminiscent of that style, though. Early 80s, neon lights, you know, so I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything about Blade Runner. This was not disputed, but distributed through Warner Brothers too, though.
Okay.
So, you know. Yeah.
Could be.
As he's explaining all the uses for the bathroom buddy, he starts to hear the sound of like chittering. Also, the grandfather, Mr. Wing, does not look impressed with this invention at all. And Rand is just distracted by the sound of chittering and begins to look around to find what the sound is. And he finds this furry little creature in a cage, and it begins to sing. This is what the boy calls a Mogwai. Mogwai, by the way, means devil in Cantonese.
See, I'm not disputing the fact that it means devil in Cantonese.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just disputing the fact that this little furry creature is in fact a devil.
I think it's more like a demon, like a entity.
Right.
More.
But he's so cute, though.
He is. Yeah, it's cute.
Like, I would throw Momo out any day of the week.
No,
if I
you
could
would
get it.
not.
Yeah.
No.
Fuck yeah, Mogwai,
No.
bro. It sings.
So
bro,
you don't
it'll
get rid
sing
of
you to
Momo.
sleep.
Why can't we just have both?
Because what if they don't get along? You never know.
They would have to get along.
Hit the bricks, Momo. There's a new cat in town.
So Rand offers $100 for the creature, but Mr. Wing like turns him down, like automatic, like no conversation, just like nah, no, you can't have it. The grandfather explains that with the Mogwai comes great responsibility. The grandson tells Randall to wait outside, and he then sneaks the Mogwai to Randall outside in the alley. He then tells him that there are 3 rules he must follow. 1, keep him out of the light. 2, keep him away from water. And 3, the most important thing, is do not feed them after midnight.
Never, ever, 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 ever.
Ever, 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 ever.
Feed them after midnight.
No. Big no-nos.
And we're going to see shortly enough that what happens when you do.
Yeah.
That's
Everyone
pretty
listening to this podcast knows what happens.
I doubt it. Nobody's ever seen this movie.
Everyone's seen this movie.
Get out of here. You don't know nothing.
We see Randall's hometown, Kingston Falls, which looks very familiar to us because it's the Universal backlots.
Bro, you cannot. There's no
way.
Fact that is Hill Valley, dude. Like, you could clearly see the fucking clock tower and everything. You know, you're just waiting for Marty and Doc Brown to come screaming through in the DeLorean and stuff. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you ever get the chance to go to Universal and do the backlot tour.
Yes, do the backlot tour. It's a
it.
Great way to, like, rest your feet for a little while and just see a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah, it is badass.
Like, the Motel Bates and stuff is always cool.
Yeah.
The Bates Motel.
Yeah, and you get to see the house.
Mm-hmm. And you get to see the house.
In the window.
Yeah. And sometimes Mr. Bates is around, walking around.
Hanging out in front of the hotel.
Yep, sometimes.
Or motel, I should say.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a fully snowy and holiday decorated, the town is. Kids with snowballs and there's Christmas trees. At the Peltzer home, Billy Peltzer is having car trouble with his frosted over VW Bug.
Oh, that's Peltzer.
Peltzer, what'd I say?
Peltzer.
Yeah. Peltzer. I knew it was Peltzer too.
Close enough. I'd say it's close enough to declare you said it correctly.
Gotta love that dyslexia. Those letters switching around on me. His neighbor, Mr. Futterman, offers him some help and then goes on a little rant about foreign-made cars versus American. And that's kind of his whole thing.
Yeah.
It's complaining about foreign, like...
He's a boomer.
Yeah.
He's a boomer. Okay.
Also, I love seeing Dick Miller and just showing up in these movies. I don't think I mentioned it, but he was actually in Night of the Creeps as well. R.I.P.
Oh, he was.
Mm-hmm.
He was the armory dude.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was in another one, and I tried to. I went to his like Wikipedia and IMDb, and I couldn't figure out which one it was. But I saw him in another movie recently as well.
Well, he's one of those like 1980s character actors.
It just pops up.
Yeah, you see his face, you know his face, but you have no idea what his name is.
So with no luck with his car, Billy starts to walk to his job with his dog Barney. At the bank, he's running a little late, and Billy has Barney leashed under his desk. At the bank, by the way, just kind of out of view. Kate, Billy's co-worker and love interest, asks for him to sign a petition to save the local pub because the local rich white woman, Mrs. Deagle, is trying to have it shut down. Mrs. Deagle is, she's the original Karen, honestly.
I have a theory about Mrs. Deagle I'll get into here in a little bit.
Speaking of, Mrs. Deagle makes her way to the bank carrying the head of a snowman decoration. Being a total bitch about it, by the way. Even as a mother and her 2 children try to speak to her outside the bank about their rent, asking for some more time, but Deagle just blows her off, saying the bank and her have the same goal, which is to make money and not to support a bunch of deadbeats. Bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
Mrs. Deagle is horrible.
So, when we see Billy in the bank and he ties Barney up under the desk, and then Kate comes up, and I was like, "Holy shit, yo, that is fucking Phoebe Cates."
Mm-hmm.
It
is.
I was like, I didn't know Phoebe Cates was in this. And if you've ever seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
yeah, you know,
dude, you know, come on, dude. But yeah, I love Phoebe Cates. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah, same.
And you know,
one of my favorite movies as a kid.
Man, anything with Phoebe Cates in it, I love. And also,
she's so adorable.
She's
just so pretty.
Yeah, and she retired from acting in the early '90s. And she's married to Kevin Kline, who, the only thing I really know him from is Wild Wild West. He plays Artemis Gordon, Jim West's opposite. So, but yeah, they're married, and yeah. But other than that, I'll let you continue, and then we'll jump into Mrs. Deagle.
Okay. Mrs. Deagle cuts the line to Billy and tells him that his dog was the one that broke her snowman decoration. Billy offers to pay for it, but she's like, "No, I want your dog dead." Like, straight up. Like, tells him that she is going to kill his dog. Barney, listening to the convo, unties himself from under the desk and jumps Mrs. Deagle, not helping his case at all. Mrs. Deagle tells Billy that he's just like his father, a loser.
Okay, so my theory on Mrs. Deagle is she is a copy and paste Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah. There's a lot of similarities, and there's also even like some lines she says that are like half lines that Wicked Witch.
Yeah. You can't sit there and say, "Oh, I want your dog," and not draw similarities between her and Elphaba, if you will. And
2 different things, kind of.
True.
Same character.
Same character with different
timelines,
stories,
almost. Yeah.
Kind of. But yeah, it's like, the whole time I'm sitting there and I'm just like, "I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too."
And she almost she says something very similar to that line later in the movie.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly what it is at this moment, but yes, she does give Wicked Witch vibes. And I think that was purpose.
And much later in the film, we'll see something that kind of brings it full circle.
Yes.
And we'll touch on that too, but I think it's hilarious.
After work, Billy is hanging out at the pub working on his art when his coworker, Gerald Hopkins, tells him that Billy almost lost his job today. Hopkins then brags about his career and judges Billy about his life. Kate is working at the pub to help out the owners, and Gerald shamelessly hits on her, and she turns him down real quick.
Yeah, Gerald is played by Judge Reinhold.
He is.
So if you've ever seen, Beverly Hills Cop or any of that sort of thing, you'll know.
He definitely plays very similar. Like, he is almost like a character actor,
Yeah.
honestly, because he does play that like guy who thinks he's a little high authority, a little bit better than everyone else. So,
Yeah.
and that's the same case.
Yeah, he comes off super arrogant, and but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Judge Reinhold definitely got bad rap over the years because of legal troubles and stuff.
Oh, really?
And yeah, from what I understand, he got arrested at some point. I don't remember for what.
Jeez.
But yeah, he's definitely one of those character actors that you just can't exactly put your finger on who the fuck he is.
You with all the Hollywood hot gossip.
Yeah, I graduated from Full Sail University with a bachelor's degree in digital cinematography. If you didn't know, so I'm pretty big film buff. Pretty big.
Okay. All right. Okay. Billy arrives home and begins to help his mom, Lynn, with dinner. He tries to use one of his father's inventions. It's like this automated egg cracker type thing, but it doesn't really work at all. Billy asks what's got his mom down because she seems a little like upset. And it turns out that Mrs. Deagle called her that afternoon. But before they can continue this conversation, Randall returns home to give Billy his gift. Billy opens the box to reveal the Mogwai, cute little fuzzy gremlin. Randall then explains that it's a Mogwai and that he's been calling him Gizmo, which he seems to like, which is a cute name.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn then tries to take a picture, but the flash from the camera scares Gizmo. Poor baby.
Yeah, I think when I was a kid, we had a cat named Gizmo. Either cat or dog, I can't remember.
Yeah, I've known several people to have had like animals, dogs and cats been named Gizmo.
Yeah.
So it's a popular name.
Yeah, it's typically reserved for the smaller animals though.
Did I say popular name?
Popular name, yeah.
A pretty popular name is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, words.
Although I'd be interested in seeing like a horse. Like
named
a
Gizmo?
Horse named Gizmo.
I could see a horse being named Gizmo.
Or an elephant maybe. I don't know.
Okay. All right then. Sure. Randall explains their rules to Billy and Lynn. Billy and Gizmo really hit it off and become buddies. Gizmo is a musical little guy and can match the notes on Billy's keyboard. It's very cute. When Billy tries to show Gizmo his reflection, the mirror reflects in his eyes and makes him fall, hurting his head a little bit.
Like, what is it about these people where they don't understand
Dude.
what bright light is?
Dude.
Or that, I don't know.
There's a lot. There's a lot of things they just like. It's a very typical American thing almost to be like, oh yeah, I got it, I understand. And then to totally ignore what you just said you totally understood. Like the rules are there for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't think he meant to do the reflection thing. He didn't really think about that. He just wanted to show Gizmo how cute he was in the hat.
I mean, Gizmo is so dreamy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He is a cute little thing.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a small miniature monkey kind of thing.
Like if a chinchilla had a flat face.
If a chinchilla and a monkey had a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that baby grew up to be a little teddy bear.
Yeah, like an Ewok almost.
Ewok. Perfect.
Like an Ewok infant is what Gizmo looks like.
There you go. That's what it is.
It is.
And honestly, knowing the people behind this movie,
yeah,
it does not surprise me.
Not surprised. The next morning, Billy tries to make orange juice with another one of his father's inventions, and it goes about as well as you expect it to. Pete, a young kid from town, played by Corey Feldman. Yep. Arrives with the Christmas tree. Billy then shows Pete Gizmo, and Pete plays with Gizmo a little bit, but it's super fucking cute. Also, Gizmo really likes to watch TV. Like, he's really like a little sponge, just absorbing all the information he can.
He's an iPad kid.
Honestly. Were we not the first generation of iPad kids, if you think about it, with like TV and stuff?
Yeah. But Gizmo was before his time. I don't know.
When Pete accidentally spills water onto Gizmo, the chaos begins. When Mogwais are introduced to water, they begin to reproduce asexually, a mode of reproduction which a new offspring is produced by a single parent. When the water hits Gizmo, these small fuzzy balls produce from his back and fall across Billy's room.
Um, yeah, so the orange juice machine.
I mean, you can see the actor kind of like smiling after the orange juice is everywhere and stuff.
It'd be hard for me not to break. Like, if I was acting in that scene,
Oh, yeah.
I would die.
I wonder if that was just like water or if it was actually orange juice.
Oh, I don't know. I would hope that it was water because orange juice is sticky.
Yeah,
And
that
the
would
ants.
be. Yeah.
And
it probably was like water dyed like orange or something.
And I mean, you're filming this in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like, I would imagine that they were filming this in like the summertime or some shit, or spring even.
Well, I don't know.
But
probably.
Anyways, and then you see Pete, Corey Feldman. He's so young in this.
Yeah, he's pretty adorable.
I mean, because this was before Stand By Me and The Goonies.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he was still really, really young. But yeah, the whole thing with the water and Gizmo is super funny. Like, you've got these little fuzzy balls just rolling all over the place and stuff.
Oh, you think that was funny?
I thought it was cute.
No, he's in pain and he looks like it hurts.
Yeah, but
I don't like it.
But there's like these little fuzzy golf balls. And
yeah,
stuff.
but that doesn't. I mean, Gizmo's still in pain.
He's fine.
He
comes out of it okay.
So these fuzzy little balls then begin to grow into more Mogwai. Although these are just as fuzzy and cute, they seem to have more sinister nature. When Pete tries to pet one of them, it bites him. Gizmo seems upset and a bit sad at the new additions to the family. Billy tries to tell his dad about the new Mogwai, but Randall just goes on a rant about his bathroom buddy. Billy then tells Randall that the Mogwai have multiplied by water and shows him the new ones. Randall gets an idea that maybe every kid in America would want one and it could replace the dog.
I love how Randall's first, like, his immediate reaction is, how can I make money off of this?
Yeah.
Like, is that not American
it's
or what?
So, I mean, honestly, I think that's one of the biggest points of this movie is to be like, you know, how American are these people? Yeah. You know, they're not learning their lesson at all.
Right. And
until it gets up to the point where it's complete chaos. And then maybe they'll learn a lesson.
Yeah, there is a certain type of like morality to the story and stuff. And we see it at the end of the movie too, but like you know, just how like full of themselves Americans are, you know, like they just don't really understand anything that's not about them. You know, so I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting like character, you know, level of how they think and stuff. Because I mean, it is like you find this strange creature, and all of a sudden you have this strange creature you never like ever seen before, and you're not following the rules to keep it safe, and you're just like, man, it's just a creature, it's just a pet.
Yep. Yep. Wow.
Yeah, people don't think of, you know, the consequences. Anyway, at night, Billy is awoken by Barney whining and gets up to check on him, not noticing that one of the Mogwais isn't asleep. Billy finds Barney strung up in holiday lights hanging outside from the roof. Billy blames Mrs. Deagle, but there's no proof that she was there, and Randall decides to take Barney to his mom's for the holidays. That's where Barney went.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From when I read your notes earlier, that's what happened. Billy then takes one of the Mogwai to see the science teacher, Mr. Hanson, at the local high school. He then drips water on the Mogwai to prove how they reproduce and leaves one there so the teacher can keep an eye on it. And I already just said this, but I don't like the fact that Billy just decides to make more Mogwai when clearly it hurts them when they reproduce.
Yeah, well, that's just another part of that morality, you know, like he doesn't really understand that he's being irresponsible about it and stuff. You know, he doesn't see them as their own like sentient beings.
No.
You know, so.
Well, he's gonna learn a lesson. That's for sure.
He's gonna learn today.
Billy spots Kate working at the pub as he's walking home. She's helping Mr. Fetterman out after a long night of drinking. Turns out the American-made tractor he has is full of foreign-made parts, and he explains that they put gremlins inside all the machines, and they send them over to the U.S. Billy then walks Kate home, and they have a nice conversation about Futterman and how some people just get depressed during the holidays. And it turns out Kate doesn't celebrate Christmas. And Billy tries to understand why, but she kind of gets snappy with him about it because she doesn't want to talk about it. Billy then takes a moment to ask Kate on a date, and she accepts. She accepts. It's very cute.
She says what's possibly the darkest line in this whole fucking movie during the scene. She says, while some people are opening presents, others are opening their wrists.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit, bro. Like, This is... It's not exactly a kid's movie, but at the same time, like, I could see this being, like, PG-13.
I'm pretty sure it's only rated PG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're saying something like that, bro? Damn. That's crazy.
I mean, is she wrong? Is she wrong? She lied to the children?
No. Let me cue up the Hawthorne Heights, real quick.
God damn it.
I'm in my mood right now.
Back at the high school, the science teacher begins to do some experiments on the Mogwai and begins to do just a little blood test. Mogwai does not like that. Back at home, the extra Mogwai, or the other Mogwai, begin to annoy Billy to feed them. He checks the clock and it's not midnight yet, so Billy decides to grab them a snack. And he feeds them a whole plate of fried chicken. And these little monsters grub out. At the high school, the captive Mogwai notices the teacher's sandwiches left with him.
Them eating that fucking chicken.
Oh, it's so
is
gross.
The grossest fucking thing,
that
dude.
Sound.
Oh my god.
And the close-ups, and it's not not a lot of it. It's a very short little scene, but like it's meant to gross you out because it was kind of nasty.
It's like, imagine watching the macaroni in the pot from WAP, like that's what it was like. It's just like, so gross.
Yeah, the sounds of chewing.
It's so nasty.
Ugh. And there's like a close up and you can see like the stringiness of them like eating it and stuff.
Just smacking.
Although it does make me want like fried chicken. Like homemade fried chicken. Anyway, sorry. The next morning, Billy wakes up to discover these strange green egg sacs in his room. Billy calls his mom up and shows her the eggs, and she asks him if he got them wet, and he's like, no. And then she asked him if he feeds him after midnight, and Billy confesses that he gave them some chicken, but he made sure it wasn't midnight. He then checks his clock, and the wires have been chewed.
Dun dun.
At the high school, Mr. Hansen also has a cocoon on his hands and explains that the Mogwai is at its pupil stage. Pupil stage. Turns out when you feed Mogwai after midnight, they create cocoons and begin a metamorphosis.
Ooh. I wonder if they turn into like these like gelatin like things inside their cocoons. Like, you ever read about how like caterpillars go into their cocoon and then they just kind of melt down into this like ooze, and somehow their DNA carries the knowledge, I guess, or the code in order for them to,
like a puzzle.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if the Mogwai also have that. Maybe they share DNA with the caterpillar
or some sort of like insect.
Yeah. It'd be wild.
Well, from what I've seen of the movie and what I know is when they emerge, they no longer have the like fur on their bodies, but they still have similarities of like markings and stuff. Like Stripe still has a stripe, like. Yeah. So I feel like maybe their fur melts into a goo.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
possible.
true. Yeah.
At home, Lynn is decorating Christmas cookies when the phone rings and Randall is calling from an invention convention. As they talk on the phone, the cocoons upstairs begin to move. At the bank, Mrs. Deagle is causing more trouble and asks Billy where Barney is, and Billy says he's on vacation. And Deagle is like, "You better keep him out of the way, or he's going to have a slow death." Bitch.
Yeah. I wrote Mrs. Deagle would catch these hands.
She's just fucking awful.
Like, dude. She
She's
better
not.
she better check her damn brake lines.
Say something about my dog.
Yeah.
Say it.
Yeah.
Say it.
Let's
Anyway.
go. Let's go right now.
The cocoons at the house and the high school begin to melt and open to reveal new forms of the Mogwai, slimy and gooey gremlins. Mr. Hanson rushes his class out and finds the cocoon hatched as he calls Billy, who rushes over. Mr. Hanson then tries to lure the Mogwai out of the dark with some candy, a Snickers to be exact, by the way. He reaches under the desk where the Mogwai is hiding and offers a candy bar. The Mogwai then bites Mr. Hanson. Billy shows up and finds Mr. Hanson's body with a syringe stabbed in his backside. Billy reaches for the foam, but the gremlin grabs his hand before grabbing an apple from the desk. The gremlin then escapes the room through the vent.
I can only imagine the Snickers commercials from back then,
Dude.
like after this movie came out. Like, because the whole shtick right now is like, you know...
you're not yourself when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
imagine, like, they should do, like, a little spin-off, like, Gremlins commercial where,
And that's what I'm saying. There most likely was. And you could probably find it. But, I mean, yeah, you're not yourself when you're hungry. So you see this fucking gremlin eating a Snickers.
Yeah, and then it turns into Gizmo or something.
It turns into Gizmo. Oh, that would be so fucking
Honestly.
great. Oh, man.
It would. I mean, honestly, if they hadn't done that already, if they do this after this podcast comes out, they owe us money. Snickers will owe us
Yeah, we're
money.
trademarking that right now.
Yeah. That's how that works, right?
Sure.
Billy goes to the nurse's office to bandage his scratch from his hand, and the gremlin pops out and scares him. Back at home, the gremlins begin to torment Gizmo. And overhearing the noise, Lynn grabs a kitchen knife and you know, good survival instincts there on her part.
Dude, she's standing on business.
Mm-hmm. The gremlins send Gizmo down the laundry chute as Lynn walks up into Billy's room to find the empty cocoons. Billy calls and warns his mother about the gremlins, but one of the gremlins has pulled the phone cords out of the wall. Music begins to play downstairs, and Lynn heads back down, completely freaked out.
Yeah, I was just like, oh no, Gizmo's in trouble. I didn't care about the mother. I cared about Gizmo. Like, please don't hurt Gizmo.
What the fuck, Troy?
Please don't hurt him.
Troy.
And at least he got sent down the laundry chute. I mean,
he's fine.
Yeah, dude.
There's no reason to be worried about Gizmo.
He's all cozy and stuff in there.
Yeah.
I'm so happy about
in the
that.
dirty clothes?
That's fine.
Okay. Downstairs, Lynn turns the music off and begins to search for the gremlins, and they begin to throw things at her. In the kitchen, she discovers one of the gremlins eating her Christmas cookies. One of the gremlins sticks his head into a juicer, and Lynn turns it on and creams him. Another gremlin begins to throw plates at her, but she's able to stab it to death. And then another gremlin appears, and she's able to shove it in the microwave and nuke it. Lynn just out here collecting bodies.
Bro, just stacking
bodies.
She's
not playing around. This is her house, her kitchen, and her business.
Like, she's a Spartan, dude.
Dude,
a fucking
Lynn
Spartan. Because she's got this
ass.
she's got this like TV tray table, using it as a shield with the fucking kitchen knife in the other hand. And
Smart woman.
Yeah, she knows shit. Fucking stabs this one to death.
Yeah, she does.
Like,
she's not playing
several times. And then the juicer thing. I mean, you remember the juicer from earlier? Mm-hmm. Yeah, fucking geyser of Mogwai juice.
Yeah, gremlin just slime everywhere. Yep.
And then the fucking nuking in the microwave. I was like, yo, that's cold.
Oh, she's doing it though.
Yeah, she ain't fucking around, dude.
No, Lynn was my girl. I can't believe you weren't worried about Lynn. Like,
well, now you see why. She had it. She had it down pat.
Okay. In the living room, she goes on to see one of the stockings above the fireplace is moving, and she attacks it with the kitchen knife, but it's just this toy robot. Behind her, the Christmas tree begins to move, and it falls onto her. She struggles with the gremlin in the tree as this gremlin tries to strangle her with the Christmas lights. Billy shows up in time to hit the gremlin into the fire, and it melts and dies. The leader of the gremlins, Stripe, crashes out of the window and escapes. Billy then takes his mom to the neighbors, making sure she's safe like a good son, and then he returns home to find Gizmo.
It was at this point where I asked myself, am I a Mogwai?
You're not a Mogwai?
I don't like bright light. Water is kind of iffy, and I love eating after midnight. I mean...
Have you reproduced or went through any metamorphosis doing these things?
Have you seen me in the morning? I mean, I feel like I go through a metamorphosis every night. Like, it's rough.
You're not Mogwai. You're fine.
I just be screeching in my sleep.
No!
Yeah, it's bad.
Billy goes on the hunt for with Gizmo to find Stripe. He follows the footprints in the snow to the local YMCA where Stripe has broken into. Inside, Billy searches for Stripe, who has activated the fire alarm, and before Billy can turn it off, Stripe jumps out and knocks Billy to the ground with Gizmo. And then he takes the time to scratch Billy before jumping in the pool. Like, how petty. Like, literally, like, knocks this kid to the ground, takes a moment to, like, ha! And then, like, scratches him. And then jumps into the pool.
I don't know. Stripe's kind of fucked up.
Stripe is kind of fucked up.
He is the de facto leader of the Gremlins, so I think he's got a reputation to uphold.
I do love the moment where he's jumping in the pool and he's holding his nose. I can relate to that.
That shit burns, dude.
That shit burns.
That's all that chlorine and stuff in there too. You know them kids been peeing
and
in
I
there.
love the fact that the Mogwai somehow understand, like, to hold your nose before you jump into the water. Like, they understand, like, pop culture a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah. I don't know.
We all know what happens when the Mogwai getting wet. The pool begins to bubble and turn green as Stripe begins to reproduce dozens of gremlins. Billy then runs away, and we hear the critters and giggles of the gremlins beginning. And he goes to the police station and tries to explain the gremlins to the cops. But of course, we now know that depending on police in these movies is not something we do. Like, that's not...
Oh, no.
There's no point in it.
No.
Stripe then leads his horde of gremlins into town.
Yeah, watching that scene in the police station, I realized that the younger deputy is none other than Jonathan Banks. And if you're a fan of Breaking Bad, you will recognize him as the actor that plays Mike Ehrmantraut in Breaking Bad. He also plays him in Better Call Saul as well. But yeah, he's very young in this. He still has, dark color hair and stuff. And I was like, yo. But like, because I wasn't sure it was him initially. So I had to pause it and do the whole like X-ray thing. So, but yeah, it was kind of interesting.
It's crazy how you recognize faces and stuff and remember names, because I can never do that.
I'm autistic, if you didn't know.
Okay.
I'm telling the listeners, if they didn't know, I'm autistic, so it's easy for me to remember stuff.
Anyway, The first target is the Futterman's home, where Mr. Futterman is watching TV and his wife is doing like Christmas stuff, and outside the house, several gremlins are hanging onto his antennae. Mr. Futterman then ventures outside to check on the problem. Then we hear something like crank up in the background, and it turns out the gremlins have gotten to Mr. Futterman's tractor and begins to chase him down. Not only just like chase him down, but into the house, where they drive the tractor into the wall of the house.
Well,
like, no fucks given. We're here. We are.
He always said there was gremlins in his damn tractor.
Might as well.
See, this is what happens. All you boomers take note. Okay. This is what happens when you claim there's fucking gremlins.
Gremlins actually happen when you claim there's gremlins.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Hey, you get what you asked for, buddy.
Oh, man. At a mailbox, one of the gremlins attacks a priest and Mr. Anderson, who was from the bank outside of a church, and then another gremlin begins to fiddle with the wires of a stoplight, causing a wreck.
The mailbox gremlin.
Yeah.
The priest puts this shit in the mailbox, and all you hear is yum yum. This fucking gremlin, and they're just eating his fucking mail. I thought it was so funny.
It is funny. It's cute. At the sheriff's office, the police are pretty infatuated with Gizmo because Billy has showed them Gizmo. They then get a call about the Futterman's place and what happened. And they still don't believe that Billy is telling the truth, and they just tell him to get lost pretty much. Even though they get a phone call about these creatures and stuff. So
yeah, surprise. I mean, we've seen the same shit in Killer Clowns. We saw it in Night of the Creeps.
Cops aren't reliable.
No.
Never. Anyway, the Gremlins, I think it's Stripe, discovers Mrs. Deagle's home. Deagle. How they can read English?
I don't know. It's impressive.
That's another thing. Somehow these Gremlins just are know things and are they know pop culture. They know English. They know I don't know.
I would say they have a pretty strong third or fourth grade reading level.
Yeah, I would say that. I would agree. Inside, Mrs. Deagle is fussing with her cats. Her cats all have money type of names, there's peso and old dollar bill. The Gremlins begin to mimic the sounds of carolers as Stripe takes the opportunity to sneak inside. Deagle goes outside with the full intent to throw water on the carolers, but when she sees that they're gremlins, she rushes back inside. She then gets into her chair, the one that old people used to go up and down the stairs. It's one of those old type things. But Stripe has messed with it in the wiring, so as soon as she tries to go upstairs, the chair takes off all the way up the stairs super fast through a window, landing her in the snow in front of the police car.
I really wish I had the fucking Wicked Witch of the West music that.
Oh, was that the other references?
This is it, because she goes flying.
She does.
Out of the window. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, who else flies? Witches.
Also, how she lands head first into the ground. So all you see is her legs sticking up out of the snow. And very, very much like Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Which I think that was the Wicked West Witch of the East that the house landed on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get the reference. It's great. It's great. The police then witness as gremlins attack another man on the street as Stripe chews through the brake line of the cop car. And they just sit there, not helping at all. Not a big surprise. There's a man dressed as Santa being attacked by gremlins, and they both just sit in the car and stare.
Yeah, the deputy's can we go back to the station now?
Yeah,
can we just go?
Do you not care about your job?
No.
At all?
No.
At Pete's house, he fights with gremlins with a slingshot and a kitchen knife. The police car finally crashes, and the gremlins are just causing chaos throughout the whole town. It's just so much stuff going on. Billy then jumps into his car that's actually working now and heads to town. Over the radio, he hears Pete making a call into the radio host rocking Ricky and tries to tell him about the gremlins. And Ricky tells everyone he's tired of hearing about these little green men. And then we hear the gremlins break into the radio station. These guys are all over the place.
Yeah. So the Rockin' Ricky dude, at the very beginning of the movie, we see a billboard.
It's Indiana Jones.
It's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg.
Another.
Very cool.
There's a lot. He just decided to sprinkle himself everywhere in this movie, honestly. Meanwhile, Randall is trying to sell some of his inventions at a like a gas station. Down at the pub, the Gremlins are partying hard as Kate tries to keep up with their demands. And you want to talk about all the things the Gremlins are doing, because there's a little montage of everything going on.
My favorite part of this was the fucking hand puppets.
Yeah.
Oh man, because I don't know, it was just so funny to me. You know, this gremlin has hand puppets, like sock puppets,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, you know,
Yeah.
with another gremlin, and it's so fucking funny.
So there are gremlins that are playing poker, and we kind of have that scene of like the dogs playing poker type of thing.
Yeah.
And then you have this reference to Flashdance.
Yeah.
There is a reference to Star Wars. The arcade game that one of them is playing is actually the Star Wars arcade game.
Okay.
There's popcorn everywhere. They're all drinking, they're singing, they're watching, like, just a lot of bar activities. There's one like jazzy dude that gets the puppet show. Stripe is sitting there. One of the goblins is dressed up in like a fur coat, like a gangster's girlfriend. And they're cheating at cards together, like when they're playing poker. There's just so much chaos.
Yeah, they've got the pool table with the beer bottles on it.
Yep.
So
there's a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
When trying to light some of the cigarettes for one of the goblins, Kate learns that they don't like the bright light. She then takes a Polaroid camera and uses a flash of the camera to escape the pub. Smart girl. Billy shows up in the bug funnily and uses the brights to stun the gremlins, rescuing Kate. But then, as soon as she gets into the bug, it doesn't want to start again, and they have to make a run for it, and they head towards the bank. The gremlins have already invaded the space and destroyed the bank. Kate then asks what the heck is going on, and Billy explains that it's the gremlins. Kate finally opens up about why she hates Christmas. She explains that the worst thing that ever happened to her was on Christmas, and that when she was 9, her and her mother were waiting on her father to come home for Christmas. Her dad never showed up. Days went by, and they still hadn't seen or heard anything from her father. And then one very cold day, Kate then begins to start a fire. Why a 9-year-old was starting a fire is I don't know, beyond me. Anyways, she notices a smell, and then they call the firemen, who come and clean out the chimney, and they discover her father's body in a Santa Claus outfit. So yeah, kind of a bummer.
Yeah, that's a fucked up way to find out that your dad's dead.
Dude.
Like, you're scarred for life. Traumatic, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah. It's some of the darkest shit, like, that's some pretty dark shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sad, though. And I could understand why you would hate Christmas after that.
I
mean, we've seen a couple movies now where we think that Santa Claus could be a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, he wasn't a bad guy.
No, he
just had bad luck, was all.
Yeah. I mean, Santa Claus isn't real, but yeah.
Hey, don't say that. You don't know.
Anyways, Randall finally leaves the gas station. Kate and Billy leave the bank and discover that the town is pretty much destroyed. The shots of the like chaotic streets and all that fog is just wonderfully eerie. The lighting is really good. Kate asks where all the gremlins have gone, because it's particularly quiet now, and Billy explains that the sunlight would kill them, and they discovered that all the gremlins are holding out in the movie theater, which is smart because, no windows, obviously. The gremlins begin to watch the Disney princess classic, Snow White, and begin to sing along with the dwarves.
I mean, seeing all these gremlins in the theater was kind of interesting because it reminded me of Inglourious Bastards.
Ooh, yeah.
And if you've ever seen Inglourious Bastards, you know what happens to
Yeah,
all
in the
these
theater.
Nazis in there.
Yeah.
So
Only good
you,
stuff.
yeah,
Only good
maybe you can
stuff.
kind of see where this is heading.
Billy and Kate head to the boiler room in the back of the theater while the Gremlins are distracted with the movie. Stripe heads to the concessions to grab some yum yums and finds that it's been pretty cleared out. He then sees a sign for candy across the street. Did not know Gremlins could read. Yet again, I'm going to point it out.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
I mean, they're reading all kinds of stuff.
Down in the boiler room, Billy opens the gas line and begins to fill the theater with gas. They light like a piece of cloth on fire and begin to leave. As they cross the movie screen, the movie ends and the Gremlins can see Billy and Kate's shadows. The Gremlins begin to chase the pair from the theater, but then are trapped inside as Billy and Kate block the door from the outside. The couple then run from the theater as the cloth begins to burn and watch the theater blow up, killing all the Gremlins except for Stripe.
And that's pretty much how Inglourious Bastards ends.
Yeah.
They kill all the
all
Nazis.
good things.
Yeah. So,
there's a bunch of dead Nazis.
Sorry to spoil it for you. So.
Oh no. Stripe makes a run for it, and Billy chases him inside the department store with Kate. They begin to follow a trail of candy and a skateboard riding Stripe. Hold on, let me reread that. They begin to follow a trail of candy that a skateboard riding Stripe is leaving behind. So he's just got his hands full of candy and he's just like on this skateboard. This movie is so goofy. From all the pop culture references to the gremlin gibberish and the antics, it's just a gem of a movie. It really is.
He's such a child at heart, you know, and I don't know. It definitely makes the movie a lot more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
So
Billy and Kate split up in the store. Billy goes after Stripe, and Kate starts to look for a way to turn the lights on. In the TV section, Stripe broadcasts himself on all the TVs and taunts Billy, and then leads him into the toy section. Stripe hides among some stuffed animals as he watches Billy, and it's a lot of cat and mouse type of thing. I don't know if you noticed it, but there was an ET doll on the shelf.
No,
the Toy Story.
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah.
The toy section of the store, there was Stripe is hiding behind an ET doll. There's also a few Looney Tunes, which I'll bring up again later.
Okay.
Kate finds the control panel for the store and actually turns on a water fountain in the garden section. Gizmo wanders off by himself and finds skylights in the store.
So Stripe isn't fucking around during this. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of like Rambo. You know, he's got to win by attrition, you know?
Yeah, dude, I'm about to get into it. I'm about to get into that. Like, because you're not wrong. Like, Stripe is, like, fighting for his life.
Yeah.
Like a diva.
Yeah.
You know?
Beyonce would be impressed, huh?
Oh, I don't know about that. Stripe and Billy fight some more. The gremlin even shoots him with an arrow and attacks him with a chainsaw. Like you said, like he is not playing around. Gizmo learns to drive.
Yay.
Kate struggles with light switches, but is about to turn the lights on of the store, which disorients Stripe, saving Billy from the chainsaw death. Which would have been crazy for this movie, honestly, if the gremlin had killed Billy with a chainsaw.
Yeah, that would have been a little unexpected for sure.
Yeah. Stripe finds the water fountain and a gun.
Yeah, and how that chainsaw couldn't cut through this fucking bat.
Oh yeah, the way Billy was protecting himself was with a wooden bat.
Yeah.
Versus a chainsaw.
Yeah. And it gets kind of fucked up, but he never cuts through it.
No, he never cuts through it. So, you know. You know, it's drama. Randall drives back into town and discovers the chaos. As he's driving past the department store, Barney jumps out and runs into the store. Stripe and Billy are having a showdown at the water fountain as Stripe tries he fires the gun at Billy. Stripe then dips his finger into the water and begins the process of reproduction. Oh, fucking no. Gizmo crashes the scene and is able to open a skylight over the fountain, and Stripe begins to melt in the sunlight.
I'm melting.
Pretty
I'm
much.
melting. What a world. What a world.
They wrap Gizmo safely in Randall's scarf, and Billy walks over to the water fountain to inspect it. And as he does this, the melty skeleton of Stripe pops out at Billy and then falls into the floor into a melty pile of goo. At home, the family watches the news coverage from the chaos of the Gremlins. The old man, Mr. Wing from the shop who sold Gizmo to Randall, shows up to collect Gizmo. He berates Randall for not following the rules and says that they do not understand and they are not ready for the responsibility of the Mogwai. Before they leave, Gizmo wants to say bye to Billy, and the man tells him that maybe one day he may be ready and that the Mogwai will be waiting for him.
So I also have a theory that the Mogwai in this movie are based on the flying monkeys from The Wizard of Oz. But I don't know. There's just a lot of like elements from that movie that I feel like were brought to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see Stripe melting from the sunlight, whereas in The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West, she melts from the water.
Yeah. There's lots of like elements that, can be connected.
So, kind of interesting.
Randall takes the last moments of the movie to try and pitch his smokeless ashtray to Mr. Wing. And then the Peltzer family watches Mr. Wing leave with Gizmo.
I mean, he
to
takes
a snowy night.
He takes the smokeless ashtray.
He does take the smokeless ashtray. That's true.
I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
I mean, sure. I mean, if it works.
Well, the gas station guy tried to sell it to him.
No, he was trying to sell it to the gas. When he was on the way, Mr. Wang did stop at the gas station and was trying to. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Oh man, this movie was really good.
It is. It's a good, cute little movie. The 1984 movie Gremlins is a beloved horror comedy directed by Joe Dante, written by Chris Columbus, and executive produced by Steven Spielberg. Chris Columbus wrote the original script, which was much darker than the final version. Spielberg saw the potential and brought it under his Amblin Entertainment banner and was distributed by Warner Brothers. Much of the film was shot on the Universal Studio backlot. The town square is the same one used in Back to the Future in 1985. The film was made on an estimated budget of $11 million, but was a commercial success, grossing over $212 million worldwide.
That is quite the profit.
They made so much money.
Yeah.
They made so much money.
Yeah, and I can see why, though. I can see why.
Yeah. So our cast, Zach Gilligan as Billy Peltzer, Phoebe Cates as Kate Behringer.
Mm-hmm.
Hoyt Axton as Randall Peltzer, Frances Lee McCain as Lynn Peltzer, Kay Luke.
Sure.
Yeah, as Mr. Wing, and then Mushroom as Barney.
Mushroom. That's kind of a cool name.
For a dog,
Yeah.
His name is Mushroom. Yeah. So what exactly is a gremlin?
I don't know. Let's find out together, shall we?
Okay. The concept of gremlins originated as a piece of RFA, the Royal Air Force folklore during World War II. Pilots and mechanics blamed mechanical failures and unexplained malfunctions on mischievous, invisible creatures they called gremlins. Folklore paints gremlins as small, chaotic creatures that delight in sabotage, particularly targeting aircraft and machinery. The idea was popularized in American pop culture through books, cartoons, and even the Looney Tunes shorts featuring Bugs Bunny. So that's another thing, a little nod, because did you ever watch or see any of the Looney Tunes with the gremlins in it?
I don't think so.
There is this one very popular, I can't remember who, I think Bugs Bunny, it was Bugs Bunny versus Gremlin, but they're on an airplane and there's a gremlin just like causing havocs all over, like taking down like engines and messing with wiring and stuff. And then Bugs Bunny is trying to like fix everything and survive.
You know, we've seen something else with a gremlin in an airplane.
Yeah, the Twilight Zone, the movie.
There's something on the wing.
You had to, huh?
Okay. Thing.
Author Roald Dahl wrote a children's book called The Gremlins in 1943, which introduced them as a playful but troublesome beings. This book may have influenced some modern depictions of gremlins. So that's a little backstory of what a gremlin actually is.
Yeah.
The making of Gremlins was a fascinating and complex progress, especially because it relied heavily on practical effects and animatronics to bring the Mogwai and Gremlins to life. Chris Wallace? Yeah. The creature effect designer, known for his work on Raiders of the Lost Ark and later The Fly, was tasked with creating the Mogwai, Gizmo, and the Gremlins. He combined puppetry, animatronics, and stop-motion animations for the effect. Each Mogwai and Gremlin puppet was a mechanical marvel. The animatronic Gizmo was particularly challenged to operate due to its small size, with intricate mechanisms for blinking, ear movement, and expressions.
Yeah, I mean, one of the notes that I did have was that the puppeteering in this movie was amazing.
Oh yeah,
I mean they really did something with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's very impressive.
They put a lot of work into it, a lot of money into it.
Yeah.
An initial idea to use monkeys to portray the Gremlins was kind of like tossed around a little bit. But it was scrapped after a test monkey became frightened and panicked when fitted with the gremlin head. So they tried to dress this spider monkey, by the way, up as a gremlin, and it lost its shit, literally. It like defecated all over the place. Like
Please
it shit itself.
Did it throw said shit?
Oh, probably. I mean
that
it didn't
awesome.
say in detail, but that is the research.
Well, I did say earlier that, you know, they were the flying monkeys from Wizard of Oz.
Which, yeah, there was a lot of Wizard of Oz, like references or something. And I even, like, when watching it before I started to get into the, like, research part, I made a mental note, like, this seems, like, very familiar to Wizard of Oz and stuff. Like, there's something going on. I didn't see anything that came up with the research. Mind you, I didn't, like, specifically look for any links, which I guess I should have, but, you know, yeah.
I mean, it's always something we can look into for a future episode or something like that. So, I mean,
initially Gizmo was going to turn into Stripe, the leader of the Gremlins, but Steven Spielberg insisted that Gizmo remain a hero character to emphasize the difference between the Mogwai and the Gremlins. This required extensive animatronic for Gizmo's expression and detailed movements.
And that was a good choice. We love Gizmo.
Yes, we love Gizmo. After viewing Tim Burton's early short films, Steven Spielberg considered him for the role of director. However, he ultimately decided against it because Burton had yet to direct a full-length feature film at the time. So we could have had Tim Burton do fucking Gremlins.
Yeah, we could have had Tim Burton, but no. Tim Burton's first feature film directorial debut was Pee-wee's Big Top Adventure.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy to think about.
Well, you know, I mean, if you think about it, though, had Tim Burton not done Pee-wee, it would not have been the same.
True.
It would have been different.
True. One reason behind the no bright lights rule was the the limitations of 1984 special effects technology, which made it challenging for director Joe Dante and Amblin to fully perfect the gremlin puppets. Keeping the creatures in the dark helped conceal these shortcomings, a classical sci-fi technique. Dante had previously employed this method in The Howling in 1981, using shadows and low lighting to mask issues with the practical effects of the film's werewolves.
That is a
one of the
very
reasons.
good, a very good technique to use. Just don't light it.
Yeah, no lights, no bright lights.
Yeah, we'll film
Get away
it in
with
the dark.
anything. Gremlins contain several nods to executive producer Steven Spielberg, especially E.T. and also one of the Gremlins echoes the iconic line "Phone Home," and a stuffed E.T. can be spotted in the store. And at the beginning of the film, a movie marquee advertises A Boy's Life, the fake title used during E.T.'s production and shipment to theaters.
Nice.
So yeah, that is Gremlins. There also was a Gremlins car in one of the very first shots too. I read somewhere.
Oh, like a gremlin?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I guess I thought I wrote that down, but I don't see it. But I do remember reading about that. So there was lots of things, lots of nods and stuff. So yeah. But cute little movie. It is just a gem. It's crazy. It's chaotic. Not, the normal thing we do, but it's your turn, so you get to do whatever you want.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
guess.
whatever. We're gonna try to do the intermissions episode for Terrifier 3.
Yeah.
And that's got tons of blood and gore in it.
Mm-hmm. We should rewatch it.
We should rewatch it.
I
I think it is on streaming.
Mm-hmm. It is on streaming now.
Yeah, we could watch it. But yeah.
Yeah.
What would you give this movie though? Scale of 1 to 10.
Gremlins is gonna be an 8. Like 7.5, 8 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably right there with you. 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not exactly our, level of horror that we like to watch.
But it's cute. It's funny. It's a creature feature type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still is considered a horror comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not even horror. It's just it's scary. It's a scary horror.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
I've seen this. I don't know how many times.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of Critters, though, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you like Critters, you'll definitely like this movie. But, as always, thank you for tuning in to And I Made Him Watch. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to check out our other episodes where we dive into more eerie and thrilling films. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. Stay connected with us on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky for updates and behind-the-scenes content.
And TikTok, as long as they're around.
Yeah, and TikTok. Hopefully it stays around. If not, I'm sure there'll be Instagram, probably. For more information and to explore our full episode library, visit our website at www.andimadehimwatch.com. Yeah, your support means the world to us, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Share your favorite moments, suggest movies for us to cover, or just say hi. So, as always, stay spooky.
Bye!